Okay, let me start this. And we got okay, there we go. We got 6 plus 9i squared. So we can rewrite this as 6 plus 9i times 6 plus 9i. Now we multiply everything together. So you take 6 times 6, we take 6 times 9i, we take 9i times 6, and we take 9i times 9i. That's FOIL. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 9i gives us 54i. 9 times 6 is 54i. 9 times 9 is 81, and I times I is I squared. So we got 54 plus 54 is 108i, plus 81, and we replace the I squared with negative 1. So we'll have 36 plus 108i minus 81. And 36 minus 81 will give us negative 45. So that's negative 45 plus 108i is our answer. Negative 45 plus 108i. Okay, so then I go to my next problem. And we got an absolute value inequality. Let me clear this off. Then we got the absolute value of x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 5. Now what's inside our absolute value will be our p, and the other side will be our q. And our formula is p is less than or equal to negative q, and there's no or there. P is greater than or equal to positive q. So everywhere I have a p, I'll plug in x plus 5. Everywhere I have a q, I'll plug in 5. Same over here. And then I want to solve these for x. So I take the 5 over, and it becomes a negative 5. So I get x is less than or equal to negative 10. Here I'll take the 5 over and get 5 minus 5, or 0. And there's no or between them. And they probably wanted it in interval notation. So this will be negative infinity to negative 10, bracket on that, union for the or, and then from 0 to positive infinity. Okay, so come here and put negative infinity, comma, negative 10, bracket, union symbol, bracket, 0, comma, positive infinity, and close parentheses. And our graph. C kind of looks like it. Let me look at these other ones. Okay, that's starting on negative 10. That's a parentheses. We want a bracket. Okay, that must be it. Okay, consider the quadratic function below. So let me clear this off. And we got f of x equals x squared minus 18x plus 80. And what's a vertex? Okay, well, for our vertex, we need to identify a and b. A is whatever number is in front of your x squared, which is 1. B is whatever number is in front of your x, which is negative 18. Our second step on the vertex is to find negative b over 2a. So we'll plug in the negative 18 over 2 times a. Negative negative gives us positive, over 2, that gives us 9. We then want to plug that back into our original function. Remember, f of x same as y equals 9 squared minus 18 times 9 plus 80. It's 81 minus 162 plus 80. So we got 81 minus 162 plus 80 gives us negative 1. So our vertex would be 9, negative 1. Find the equation for the axis of symmetry. Well, that'll be x equals whatever the x part of our vertex was. Our graph's opening up, which means it has a min. Let's see, opens upward and has a minimum value. And this will be equal to the y part of our vertex, which is negative 1. Use a graphing tool. Okay, we want the parabola. It's going to be at 9, negative 1. 9, negative 1 would be right there. Okay, now our next one. Eight. What would 8 give us if we plugged it in? If I plugged in x is equal to 8, I'd have 8 squared minus 18 times 8 plus 80. So I'd have 64, that's 8 squared, minus 18 times 8 plus 80. 0. Okay. So then this would be right there. Save that. Okay, I'll go to the next problem. And it says solve this. So let me clear this off. We've got b squared minus 8b minus 20 equals 0. And this will factor. This factors as b minus 10 times b plus 2 equals 0. Now, zero factor property says you set each factor equal to 0. So I'll set b minus 10 equal to 0, and I'll set b plus 2 equal to 0. And that gives us b is equal to 10, and b is equal to negative 2. Simplify answer, type, use comma separate answers. Okay. Negative 2, comma 10. I'll probably end up making a mistake on this. The shortness of time is got me rushing more than normal. Okay, so we're going to multiply the 8i through. 8i times 4 is 32i. 8i times negative 7i is negative 56i squared. Now I squared is equal to negative 1, so we're going to replace that. And then negative 56 times negative 1 gives us a positive 56 plus 32i. 56 plus 32i. Okay, let's take this one. We got 6 over x plus 4 equals 8 over x. Now this one I can cross multiply. So I'll take 6 times x, which is 6x, equals 8 times x plus 4. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 4 is 32. Take the 8x over, becomes a negative 8x, equals 32. 6x minus 8x is negative 2x equals 32. And then divide both sides by negative 2. And you get x is equal to negative 16. How do they want us to write the answer? Just negative 16? Type an integer or simplified fraction. Use comma to separate answers. Select the correct choice below. Okay, solution set is this. Real number, no. Okay, that's it. Now this one doesn't look like it'll factor, so we have to use quadratic formula. And we got x squared minus x plus 3 equal to 0. And a is whatever's in front of our x squared, which is 1. B is whatever's in front of our x, which is negative 1. And c's are numbered in, which is 3. And we got x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I got negative 1 plus or minus negative 1 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So that gives us 1 plus or minus square root. Negative 1 squared is 1 minus 4 times 1 times 3 is 12 over 2. Which gives us 1 plus or minus square root of negative 11 over 2. And negative will come out as an I. So we've got 1 plus or minus I squared 11 over 2. And since we have an imaginary portion, we want to split this up. So we'll have the real part, 1/2, plus or minus square root 11 halves I separate. And use your comma separate the answers. Okay. So we got 1/2 minus square root of 11 over 2I, comma, 1/2 minus square root 11 over 2I. And about screwed up there. That should be a plus. Not that I still won't make mistakes. When I rush through, I just see that 48 minutes remaining, make me nervous. These ways, that'll be my excuse this time. Okay, subtract and simplify. We got 3 minus 4i minus negative 4 plus I. Now, this first set of parentheses doesn't do anything, so I can drop it. And remember, a negative out in front flips the sign of everything. So it becomes a plus 4 minus I. 3 plus 4 is 7. Negative 4i negative I is negative 5i. So we got 7 minus 5i. Excuse me. Now here, we got 8 over y minus 4 minus 2 over y equals 10y plus 4 over y squared minus 16. First off, we need to factor all of our denominators. So we've got 8 over y minus 4 minus 2 over y is equal to 10y plus 4 over y plus 4, y minus 4. And we're going to multiply everything by the LCM of all our denominators. So we're going to have, is that really a y? Yeah, it is. Okay. We've got y times y plus 4 times y minus 4 times 8 over y minus 4 minus y plus 4, y minus 4 times 2 over y equals y times y plus 4 times y minus 4 times 10y plus 4 over y plus 4, y minus 4. That y minus 4 cancels that y minus 4, this y cancels that y, this y plus 4, that y plus 4, this y minus 4, and this y minus 4. So we're left with 8 times y, 8y times y plus 4 minus 2 times y plus 4 times y minus 4. If I multiply those together, it gives me y squared minus 16 equals, over here I got y times 10y plus 4. 8y times y is 8y squared. 8y times 4 is 32y minus 2y squared plus 32 equals 10y squared plus, is that a 4? 4y. Okay, 8 minus 2 is 6y squared plus 32y plus 32 equals 10y squared plus 4y. Now I'm going to take these three terms over to the right side. So I got 10y squared minus 6y squared plus 4y minus 32y minus 32. Ten minus 6 is 4y squared. 4y minus 32y is negative 28y minus 32. Now I can factor a 4 out, and that gives me y squared minus 7y minus 8. And that factors as y minus 8 times y plus 1. Set the y minus 8 equal to 0, set the y plus 1 equal to 0. And we get y is equal to 8 and y is equal to negative 1. Now neither one of those will cause our original equation to have a 0 for the denominator, so those are our answers. Negative 1, wait a minute, what is this? Solution set, I guess it might help to actually read. Negative 1 and 8. Okay, let me clear this off. Then we got absolute value of 9x plus 7 equals 4. And this is an absolute value equation. So what's inside our absolute value would be a p, and the other side would be a q. And our formula says we got p is equal to q, and p is equal to negative q. So everywhere I have a p, I'll plug in 9x plus 7. Everywhere I have a q, I'll plug in 4. And then we want to solve for x. So here I'll take 7 over to the right side, becomes a negative 7. So we got 9x equal negative 3. Divide both sides by 9. And we got x is equal to negative 1/3. Now here take the 7 over, becomes a negative 7. Negative 4, negative 7 is negative 11. And divide both sides by 9, and we get negative 11/9. So negative 1/3 and negative 11/9. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We got the square root of 8x minus 13 equals y. Now, we got the square root by itself, so we're going to go ahead and square both sides. And that gives us 8x minus 13 is equal to 1. Take negative 13 over, becomes a positive 13. 1 plus 13 is 14. Divide both sides by 8. And top and bottom both divided by 2, and that gives us 7/4. Now we would want to check that into the original problem, make sure it works, but it does. I went ahead and mentally checked it. 147. What in the world's that? I know it's divisible by 3. Let's see, 12, 27, okay, 7, 2, and that's 7 times 7. Okay, I see it now. So we're going to have square root of -1 times 3 times 7 times 7. Now, a -1's going to come out as an I, and a pair of 7's will come out as a single 7. So we're going to have 7i square root of 3. I'm guessing my math lab will want I at the end like this. So I got 7 square root of 3 with an I to the side. Use the graph to find a vertex. Now our vertex is our lowest point or highest point. And it looks like our lowest point here is -3, 1. -3, 1. Now the axisymmetry is x equals the x part of our vertex. Since it opens up, it's going to be a minimum. They're not asking that though. They say what is the value, and that's equal to the y part of our vertex. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We got f of c is equal to c squared plus 12c plus 35. And it's asking us to find these zeros. Well, when you find zeros, you set it equal to 0 and solve it. So we'll set the function equal to 0. This factors as c plus 5 times c plus 7. Zero factor property. Get 0 on one side, you factor the other side, you set each factor equal to 0. So we got c plus 5 equal to 0 and c plus 7 equal to 0. Which gives us c is equal to -5 and c is equal to -7. Okay, -5, -7. Let me clear this off. Then we got square root of x minus 7 plus 9 equals x. Now we want to get the square root by itself, so we'll take the 9 over to the right side. So we've got square root of x minus 7 is equal to x minus 9. Now we're going to square both sides. When you square a square root, they cancel each other, so that gives us x minus 7. And x minus 9 squared is x minus 9 times x minus 9. Now we want to FOIL that. X times x is x squared. X times -9 is -9x. -9 times x is -9x. And -9 times -9 is 81. -9x, -9x is -18x. Now since it's a quadratic, we want to get everything over one side. So I take the x and the -7 over. So we got x squared minus 18x minus x plus 81 plus 7. -18x negative x is -19x. 81 plus 7 is 88. And that factors x minus 8 times x minus 11. Set each factor equal to 0. So set x minus 8 equal to 0 and x minus 11 equal to 0. And we get x equals 8 and x is equal to 11. Maybe. We have to check them. If I plug in the 8 in my original equation, 8 minus 7 is 1, square root of 1 is 1, 1 plus 9 is 10. That doesn't give you 8. If I plug in 11, 11 minus 7 is 4, square root of 4 is 2, 2 plus 9 is 11. If I plug in 11 here, then that does work. So it looks like our only answer is the 11. Let me clear this off. And we got square root of -9 times the square root of -25. Now a negative inside the square root gives you an I, and square root of 9 is 3, so that's 3I times 5 times 5 is 25, and the negative gives us an I. 3 times 5 is 15, I times I is I squared, and I squared is equal to negative 1, so that ends up giving us negative 15. And there we go. Let's take a look at this problem. I'm going to make it. I was thinking I wouldn't be able to finish the test in this time. X plus 6 inside the absolute value is less than 5. Now what's inside our absolute value will be your P, and the other side will be your Q. This is a less than formula, so we're going to plug it in. Negative Q is less than P is less than positive Q. So everywhere I have a P, I'll plug in X plus 6, and everywhere I have a Q, I'll plug in 5. So I got negative 5 is less than X plus 6 is less than a positive 5. Take 6 over the other two sides, and I got negative 5 minus 6 is less than X is less than 5 minus 6. So I got negative 11 is less than X is less than negative 1. And they want interval notation, so I'll have beginning parentheses negative 11, then negative 1, because there's no line underneath the inequalities. So negative 11, negative 1. Parentheses on those, negative 11, negative 1. I think it's E, but let me look at the rest. Okay, it has to be E. Let me clear this off. And we got 3 plus 2I times 6 minus 8I. Now if I FOIL this, 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times negative 8I is negative 24I. 2I times 6 is 12I. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, and I times I is I squared. Negative 24I plus 12I is negative 12I. I squared is negative 1. Negative 16 times negative 1 is a positive 16. And what's that give us? 34 minus 12I. Okay. Now solve this by factoring, so let me clear that off. And we got 3I squared, 3y squared. It's about bedtime for me, I think. Minus 19y plus 16 equal to 0. And this factors, I think. I'm drawing a blank. I'm going to use the key number, so I'll take 3 times 16, which gives us 48. Diagonal products give us 48. We got 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, and there's our 19. So we'll be using 3 and 16. We'll rewrite our middle term using those two numbers. So I got minus 3y minus 16y plus 16 equals 0. Factor by grouping. First group has a 3y in common, and that gives us y minus 1. Second group has a negative 16 in common, and that gives us y minus 1. And I'll factor out a y minus 1 because they have that in common, and that leaves us with 3y minus 16. Set each factor equal to 0. And then we get y is equal to 1, and here I take negative 16 over, it becomes a positive 16. Divide both sides by 3, and we get 16 thirds. So I got 1 and 16 thirds. And then last problem, I bet I only need to write this down. Negative 5 plus 6 is 1. 3i plus 5i is 8i. Okay, moment of truth. I did this pretty fast, thinking I wouldn't have enough time. So let's see how many I missed. Submit test. Not a 1. Okay, I got lucky there, I think. Okay, so that's our review.